I was expecting it to be, I guess it's one. The issue isn't paying for it. So it's 3 years and paying for itself.
You're doing that.
Within that time period is over with, it's going to be a long amount of money that we save by not having that for 4 years. Plus, you can use it for security, safety purposes, and sort of Oh, are the So yeah, so they're separate commercial control, most of them, but they still work with parents.
So, designing guys can just slide this.
Yeah,
I think I'm missing more. You just need to be more possible. I can see the video and then after they finish the textbook, guys.
You're right.
Yeah,
you said it to me, it's A6 and 7, and I can just kind of have it.
A, S, C, is,
Yeah.
and 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Good question. Well, you put your cases out, a bunch of money for.
So then.
It is 4:30, so let's get this meeting started as usual. We will start with the pledge of allegiance.
So yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The minutes from the previous meeting were sent out to you all, and they have been posted outside. Is there anything that needs to be changed with the minutes, or do I have a motion to approve as? All those in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. Is there any old business at this time? Seeing none, we'll move into new business. Is there any new business? No? Okay, we'll do our reports. If we have something we can think of, we will do it in announcements. But we will start with our branch reports. Craig Lamb.
Yeah, so something pertaining to parking services. We're kind of in the process. This happens every year, but kind of getting to the point in the year where we start aggregating data on not only different colleges in the state, but also colleges of our size in different regions across the United States. And what we look for basically is, how do they work their parking structures in general? What kind of parking facilities do they have? Their kind of a ratio to how many people purchase permits versus how many people actually buy the permits, average walk times to class, things like that. And every single year, Murray State always ranks in the top, very, very close to the top. We've got super cheap parking permits. We've got very low walk times, even though that doesn't seem to be a popular belief. So, and I don't necessarily want to open up like a roundtable discussion today, but I want to put that on you guys' minds. And as I kind of aggregate that data and get these reports together, ask around and think yourself, what is the best way that we can get this data out in a concise fashion to people on campus to help improve the likeness of Murray State parking? Because a lot of people have issues with certain aspects, or think just because you can't park in the Shark Tank and you didn't get to your test on time and blah blah blah, that's an issue with our parking structure, and it's really not. It's an issue with the way that you perceive it. So I want to kind of, I've been in this role for a very long time, starting to transition out, and I'll let JT give the budget committee report, but we're looking at some things there that also involve parking services. So if you just keep that on your mind for the next week, or we're not meeting next week, are we? Yes. So for the next week, and then next week during my report, I'll kind of open it up for discussion. I'd love to hear you guys' feedback. So that'll be it for today.
Thank you. Becca?
Hey guys, the university is still looking for Great Beginnings leaders for the fall. Those applications are online and they're due by March 31st at 4:30 p.m. I believe is the time they have set for that. There will be a blood drive in the CFSB Center. I believe that's Thursday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. RA applications are due by Friday at 11:59 p.m. We are currently looking to fill our exec board for the next year. So there are 2 positions open there. So if you are interested or know anyone who might be, just catch me after the meeting. I'll give you my email. You can give me someone else's email and I can reach out to them. It's our Vice President of Programming and our Vice President of Records and Finance. And we attended the CAR, Kentucky Association of Residence Halls conference over the last weekend of spring break. And we were awarded the most philanthropic delegation, and we received an award for having the best display at the delegation that we made. I think that's all I have for you guys. Anyone have anything for me? Awesome.
Thank you. Moving into officer reports, Rachel?
I do have a money savings tip. Something my fiance and I do is we downloaded this app called Acorns. And what it does is every purchase you have, it rounds it up. So if you spend $91.10, it rounds up to $92. And at the end of the month, it invests all of that extra money into an account that continuously makes money. So that's something we always do. It gets you about $10 a month extra that you don't have. So that's something we do to save money.
Thank you, Rachel. Bailey?
Just do your office hours. We just have this week and next week for office hours.
Woohoo! Madison?
So tomorrow is the long anticipated Build a Bear program. It's gonna be back tomorrow in the rocking chair lounge. This time we're gonna have bears, like little horses, monkeys, and rabbits, like little bunnies. So those are new. We'll start that at 10:30 in the morning, and that will go while supplies last. We've got a lot more than we have in the previous times, but I would still recommend getting there like before 1 o'clock. That's tomorrow at 10:30. Tomorrow, get there. And then this Friday, there's the diversity ball. Special shout out to Ife Akadile on CAB. That's going to be at 6:30 in the Murray room of the CFSB Center. And then my third announcement is on April 17th, we're going to have, there's a little poster, you can come here at the end of the meeting and see what April activities. The Koozie people are coming back, and then the Emotion Matrix virtual reality simulator is coming back too. So I'll leave this up here for after the meeting if anyone wants to come and look at it. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Madison. Moving into my report, just to reiterate the timeline for the 81st Senate, we will have a meeting next week, April 4th, and we're having a presentation. Some guests come in pertaining to stuff happening on the university level. So it'll actually be really interesting, and I highly recommend being here. So tell your friends that are also in SGA. I'm sure I'll send out an email, but we will have a meeting next week, April 4th. Then we'll have all campus things, so we'll have the week off for April 11th, and then we will transition on April 18th. So the way that transitions works is that we will go through the full meeting, and before adjournment, we'll technically transition, and the new exec will adjourn for us. So we will still have a meeting that day, and we will potentially still have stuff to talk about, because I know there's some legislation that's going to come through, so we'll see about that. But we will have a meeting that day, and then we'll transition, and I have gifts for you all, so I will be here. And then if you have not done an evaluation, please do one and put it outside. I feel like you all probably have, but if you haven't, please do one. And then we do have different vacancies for the 82nd Senate of SGA, so it's the upcoming Senate. If you are interested in those vacancies, reach out to JT. He's the one that coordinates all of that, but they have applications in the CSI office as well as for director positions. So all of our director positions are by appointment, essentially, or they're through a vacancy type process. So you actually apply and are interviewed by exec. So I highly recommend that and letting other people know. And that doesn't have a set due date for when those applications are due. It's just, they're just filled as applications come in, if that makes sense, according to the next exec. So they may choose to wait and interview multiple people at one time or not, but that's up to them. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me any questions, or of course JT. And then last thing, exciting thing, if you didn't see down in what was the graduate student lounge, there's now a pool table and we donated it. So go SGA, it's amazing, which is really nice. They're even gonna get Navy shop, which I think is cute. So go play. You can check out the stuff from the info booth, but if anything, just let people know that that's down there now, because there's not like a pool table in all of Murray, Kentucky, so I think it's pretty great. And that's really all I have. Are there any questions for me? We're gonna move on to our director reports. Connor?
Don't have a lot exactly to address as of today. Next week, we will be bringing up some changes to the election guidelines. I'll be sending out an email to all the senators about that this week, so you can just kind of read before next meeting. Yeah, fill those vacancies, fresh SGA.
Caleb?
Okay, I just wanted to let everybody know that we have reached out, but haven't heard back from like the mayor and Kenny Imes and who was the other one?
Humphreys.
Stan Humphreys, to come and speak, but we never heard back from them. So if y'all want us to, we can try to reach back out to them, or if you want to just wait until next year, which I do that, that'll also be fine. So just whatever y'all like us to do, just let me know.
Yeah, that's your call. If they reach back, they reach back. If not, like you think, we're waiting for you. Aaron?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Do I have any university committee reports?
Craig and I he mentioned this earlier, we went to the budget advisory committee, and basically just to kind of sum that up real quickly, the university is looking at various ways that they can decrease costs to the university, as well as possibly increase revenues for the university. Like I said, nothing is set in stone yet, but they're looking at various options. And the biggest takeaway that we had is the number one thing that we can do as students is to, one, encourage retention, and encourage your friends to stay at Murray State, and once they start to finish and graduate at Murray State, as well as to recruit more students to come to Murray State and encourage your friends to recruit their friends, and so on and so forth. And I know that that'll be a priority for us next year as for student government, is to help in that process. And just to kind of add what Tori said earlier about the vacancies, we are trying to, like she said, there's no deadline to get those vacancies filled, but we are trying to get those filled as soon as we can. So if you could, if you're interested in filling out those vacancies, or for a Senate chair position, please fill out those applications and turn those back in by April 9th, so that we can get interview processes going and hopefully get those confirmed as soon as possible.
And you'll just turn those into the CSI office to Jean. Any other committee reports? Yes?
I don't know if this is actually committee, but the United Way board, they wanted to thank anyone that went to Step Show. If you guys don't know, Step Show actually got split between March of Dimes and the United Way in Murray, Callaway County. They ended up getting about $3,600 from that, which was good, and that all goes back to our community. Also, tomorrow in Regents Residential College is having a live auction. There's like 200 and something items that they had donated from our community. Anything from gift cards to like a motor. So
what time?
It's tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the Regents lobby. If anyone would like to go, again, all the proceeds will be going back to the United Way, so they'll be going back to our community. So they'll take cash, card, and check. So come on out.
Any other committee reports? We're going to move into our guest reports. Dr. Kester.
Hello, how is everybody?
Good.
Great, glad to hear it. The one thing I did want to announce is April 6th, a week from Friday, is Dr. Davis is giving a budget update, so to follow up on what you guys talked about. It's going to be more explicit, but still high level. April 6th at 9:30 in the morning in Rather, and it will be streamed. So if you can't be there or choose not to, you can still watch it. It will affect all of us. It's going to. You probably received information about the severity of the budget cuts, and we're still waiting. I'm sure you haven't heard from Stan Humphreys or Kenny Imes because the last day of the session isn't until April the 13th. And so they're not in the conference committee, but they're in discussions with that group. So I think it'll be a little bit harder to get in contact with them, but thanks for trying and to bring them forward. And just so you're aware with that process, for any bill that's passed, the governor has 10 days to consider a veto. So if there is legislation passed on April 13th, he still has 10 days, and Saturdays count, to make any changes. But the legislature would not have the opportunity to come back and override that veto. You with me? So the hope is that they would get a budget bill out now so that they have 3 more days to be in over the next, to gavel in to do that. So if there are any concerns, that's what happens with that. Are there any questions for me related to that or anything otherwise that I can take back to the president? You too? Yes.
I have one, it's not related to the budget, it's more university affairs type stuff. Is there any way that in the future we could, for the scholarship selection process, is there a way that we could push the date up in the year so we award it sooner? Because meeting with students as an ambassador, recruitment and everything, they'll be like, well, I got this offer from this university and this, but they still don't know from Murray. So it's just, they see the money in front of them already and they don't know what they're going to get from us. So I see that as a potential way to help with recruitment. Just
so Caleb, is your suggestion to have the date sooner for which it's due, or just information out sooner?
What I'm trying to say is have the scholarship offer sooner.
Because they have not gone out yet, and they have to make a decision by them first. So this isn't the first time I've heard this. So I can very much take that back, and I'll take it to the president, but also to Jackie Dudley because she is in charge of that particular office. So they are aware of this, and because, not to put excuses, but because of the snow, we extended it almost 2 weeks. So we are 2 weeks behind, because usually we have them out. But I understand the challenge because you're losing students because they're making other decisions, and we need to do that. So thank you. Any other things? But I will do that and either have Jackie Dudley get back to you, or we'll get back to you if that's a possibility in the future.
Can you say something about Wednesday?
Oh, yes. I didn't know if, are you going to say anything about it?
Yeah,
I'm trying just to let other people do what they need to do. Anything else? Stay dry, right? Have a great, if you're at the Christian faith, have a great Easter. If you're not, enjoy the rest of the weekend.
And just to go off of that, I've spoken directly to the president because I meet with him every month or every 2 weeks about that. And so it's definitely on their radar. I think it was something that they couldn't really implement this year, but I'm really hopeful that next year they'll improve. But I'll bring it up again because I'll meet with them again. But just
I also, like, I understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, I think it's important to kind of have it somewhat late, because I know, like, in my own experience, like, I thought I was going somewhere else for a long time, and by the time I found out that I wasn't, if it had been earlier, I would have been able to apply for scholarships here.
And it's still January 15th, probably when you.
Yeah, so since it's later, I sort of have opportunity to come here, whereas if it had been earlier, I wouldn't have. So there is kind of like both sides.
I'm not understanding Caleb to not change the date of application, but to get information out about scholarships being awarded.
And I don't know what goes on in between those ways.
There are over 200 committees that have to meet with foundation scholarships. So that's what takes time to get those people together. So if you've applied, as you do through the one portal, then all of that has to be disseminated out. And so I'm not gonna make excuses, we need to do better. So we will work on that and we will have information to you about that. As soon as I leave here, I'll make sure the vice president is aware.
Moving on to facilities management.
Yes, I'm Jamie Butler with Facilities Management. Really just got one announcement. They're having a J.H. Richmond Restoration Exchange tomorrow, or excuse me, next Wednesday, April 4th. I think it starts at 12 to 4. We'll have representatives from Bucket Carters and engineering and architectural firms, which they will be giving us models to look at, some of the changes to the design. They also will have, I think, some surveys available to have some input. So I encourage everybody to swing by there and check it out and just give your thoughts on it.
And they will be coming to our meeting next Wednesday at 4:30 to get perspective. So invite other people because they want perspectives on the different things from different entities, right? So that includes students and then faculty and staff. So they're coming to us as student representatives. So it's really important. So please read it. Katie?
I really like the come and go as you please aspect that you guys decided to go with, because that lets students know they can just drop in and just say what they need to say or have a conversation with you guys. And I really like that. I feel like that makes it very student friendly, and students are who you want to hear from about this.
Thank you.
Anything else for facilities?
Yeah.
This is just a little thing. I don't know if you can do anything about it. A lot of people in the business building on 404 have been complaining about lost water in my class. There's a spot of lost.
It's usually a problem every time the temperature starts changing, it's warm or it's cool, but I'll pass that on.
Anything else for facilities? Dining.
Good evening. Fast Track went through some renovations and changes over the spring break. We installed some new shelving, and we also increased the number of items in there by about 40%. We also brought in a soft serve drink machine in Fast Track, and those are the flavors that are offered there. And then in Winslow, we had some upgrades to our beverage machines and increased and have those beverages there also.
Were you planning on any diet sort of options to the machine in the future? Or are you just going to see like how that works now and maybe expand later?
I think we'll be doing some expansion over the summertime. Okay, I'll take that back. Some upcoming events. The Tea Room has this limited time offer this week on the taco combination. Winslow tonight has the Hot Wings Challenge. Sunday, there's an Easter buffet from 11 to 4. There's a cupcake topping night, late night on Thursday, April 5th. And on Thursday, April 26th, the Iron Chef competition. And you'll hear more about that in the upcoming weeks and nights that are coming forward. This Friday in the Tea Room, we have our 2 nutritional students will be there doing a comment card thing where they can come up and talk to about comments with nutrition and information into the Tea Room. And the Racer Proud is still going on, and that's going on till April 15th, I believe it is. And here's what you will be getting when you enter into it. It's the free textbook rental, the parking permit upgrade, $50 worth of flex dollars, and a Racer gift pack also. And I believe there are about 8 of those that will be given away. That's it. There's the most important thing. Does anybody know what tomorrow is?
Opening day.
What? Opening day where?
Baseball.
Who wants some Cracker Jacks? Huh? I'll tell you what, I'll leave the rest of them up here, okay? Up at top. And those will be at Winslow tomorrow. They have about 600 bags, and then we have about 500 bags that'll be in retail, and they'll be offered at a discount price of 99 cents. So enjoy. Thank you.
He's so good.
No,
Good dining. Does anybody have any comments before dining?
I have a question. Are you all doing bull cording again this year?
Yes, ma'am. And let me help you with that, okay? We have made contact with the Pepsi people. They will be parking a truck outside of Fast Track. So all you have to do is roll your little car up right there, open up the trunk, and we will help you put it in there for you.
Okay. Do you know when that's supposed to start?
It will start probably the week before.
Okay.
And if you'll notice, the new shelving has permitted us and offered us more opportunity to have more bulk items in there. So we'll have that also.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll have the slips that you can fill out and get ahead, so you can just say it, call up and say, I'm gonna be driving up, and pick it up.
When is that?
It'll be the exams start on the 6th, so probably that Monday before that, so the last week of April.
Okay.
Mhm.
So that's when we order or is that when we pick up?
That's when you order.
Okay, good.
Anything else for dining?
Thank you for always being energetic and always bringing us snacks. You guys-
Hey, we're gonna look at some stuff too. The last week when finals are going on, we had the almost midnight breakfast on that Sunday night. We're also looking on that Monday night about bringing back the carnival night we did a couple weeks ago, because that was a big hit. And then we're also looking at some other things that last week of exams, just in the dining service, at late night and mealtime, so you'll see that.
I just want to add, dining is part of our portfolio. We also have housing in the bookstore. And so, we are also going to have a representative from the bookstore tonight, have a little presentation. So I don't know if they're on your agenda, but I think we have a slide for him. Andrew's going to speak.
All right. Thanks for having me again this evening. I want to just talk briefly about a few programs we have going on to tackle textbook affordability. You guys all know it seems like every year publishers increase prices of textbooks. So we've implemented a few programs. Over the past 2 semesters, it's saved students almost $400,000. So they've really been effective, and students have seemed to like the programs. If you look down here at the bottom right, that is an ebook savings program. So that is if you just decide to purchase an ebook from the store instead of purchasing the physical copy of the book. Publishers have recently really decreased prices on ebooks. So if you like ebooks, you can really save a lot of money by going the ebook route. The middle one is rental savings. This past semester, it was almost $100,000. Through the past 2 semesters, it's been.
I don't know why.
Are you having difficulty?
Freeze pillow. Ooh, good idea. Good idea.
So for the past 2 semesters, students have saved almost $200,000 by renting textbooks instead of purchasing. And the one on the far left is a newer program that has been gaining popularity. It's called Inclusive Access. So basically what that is, I'm sure all of you have probably by now had to come to the bookstore, buy a textbook, and it's packaged with an access code. You'd have the access code to do online homework, tests, and these packages tend to be very expensive. So we partnered with publishers to get good deals if we offer this through an electronic version, basically. So instead of coming to the bookstore, buying a package with a book and an access code, you simply go to class. Everybody in class has access to the online materials. You get an ebook online also, and it's all available through Canvas. Then you don't have to come to the bookstore and buy an expensive package. So it's all electronically done, but it's really a good price savings to the students. Just to give you a little perspective, this past semester, $287 package through this program is $80 to the student. So it's a really big savings. Students who do want an actual physical copy of the book have the option to come in and buy a low-cost loose leaf version of the book, usually $35, $40. So even with the inclusive access fee of $80, and if you wanted to buy a loose leaf on top of that, you're still a lot better off than having to buy that package like you did at one time. So it's really been gaining popularity with professors. So if you see the term inclusive access, that's what it's referring to. Yes?
So inclusive access is the fee for that one.
It's not in a course fee. What we do is, all students have the option to opt out of the program. So we send out, if you're, I don't know if any of you were enrolled in the past, we had about 9 courses that did this past semester. So we send out information on emails and let students know that you have the ability to opt out of the program. If you do, then you won't get charged that. Then you're responsible for trying to find the material on your own. The publishers have set these prices lower than any market price, so anywhere else you went, you pay more. We had very few students who opted out this past semester. I think it was less than 2% of students opted out, so it's really good price point. But yeah, you do have the option to opt out. It's not a course fee, so basically what we do is after the add drop period is over and we know who is actually enrolled in the course, then we charge that amount to your student account. So that's basically how that works. So it keeps you from having kind of an expensive package. But that's basically how the inclusive access packaging works. You'll probably see more and more. So this past semester we did about 9 courses. We've had some other professors that have shown interest. So we're looking to probably be around 15 courses this next semester, and I look for it to just grow from there. So does anybody have any questions or anything? Yes.
Just more on that inclusive access. I have one of those classes that you guys actually did. I think it was a really good thing. But the biggest thing is until that fee actually goes through, you actually don't have access to the book. So I know for my professor, he said he didn't actually want to do it again because for that first 2 weeks, he wasn't actually able to use the book at all. He had to go off of what he had already known.
What course was that for?
EMT 320, I think.
With Jake?
Yeah, Jake Hildebrand, yeah.
You should, if the process works properly, you should have access on day 1. And that's really one of the big benefits to it is everyone should have access on day 1. That's what professors like about it. There may have been some type of breakdown between the publisher rep and him getting it set up. Remember, we did have some issues, but I thought that was all resolved on the first week, so I was unaware of that.
Yeah, we weren't able, until that fee actually went through on our account, we weren't able to get into the book.
See, that's not how it should work. Everybody should have access from the publisher on the first day of class. So it's kind of like, I guess you could say trial period. And then add drop is usually the week after classes start. And that's when we run an enrollment report to see who's enrolled and we charge the fee that time. And then we settle up with the publisher basically. But it should be access on day 1. So there might have been some type of communication error or something with that course. But, I'll get with Jake. But yeah, you don't have to wait until the fee hits your account. Everyone should have access that first day of class.
Are you all looking at expanding this to other classes?
We are. We're basically looking to expand it to anyone that is using like an online learning component, accounting, yeah. But Accounting 200 and 201 is planning on going to it the next in the fall. There are a few accounting classes. I think 303. Don't quote me on that. There's about 3 or 4 that's picking it up on it because a lot of the accounting classes use the online access code. We're only doing them if it does require like an online access code. If it's just a textbook only, we want to give you guys the options to do what you want because it may not financially make sense for you. So we're only doing it on courses that financially make sense for the student and is actually going to be a less expensive option. But yeah, it's expanding. Basically any professors who want to use it, we're willing to accommodate. So publisher reps are out speaking to them now and trying to get the word out to them. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. I got a question. I've heard a lot of rumors about New Franklin. I'm really not sure what I should be believing. I know you all first application back, but.
Yeah, so you're talking about the Honors College issue, right, New Franklin. So, we talked about, we're in the process of recruiting and retaining students, and there's a cohort of students that are honor students that are important to the university. I mean, all recruits are important, but honor students are a cohort that is of special interest. And there's a desire from the Honors College to try to create a living learning community for the honors group, okay? And so the Franklin Housing Facility has been that honors destination, if you would. And so there's a lot of efforts this year to do some heavy recruiting in the honors area for incoming freshmen that are qualified for the honors, and giving them an opportunity to live within in that honors living and learning community. We won't know until we get all the applications in, all the people make decisions about what's going to happen. What we intended to do with this communication, I think the communication maybe wasn't done as effectively as we hoped it would have been. The intent of the communication was to say that in the fall semester, we're going to give priority to honor students about living in that space, in the honors community. What I want to be really perfectly clear about is that the priority will be toward honor students. If we don't get the commitments from the honor students, or we have extra space that's available, folks that are living there will have the next set of priorities to continue staying in their space. There was an email that went out to folks that lived in that space saying, we're making a change in there and we're going to prioritize the honor students, and it may be possible if we get a lot of honor students coming in and there's a whole lot of involvement from the honors living learning community, that we may not be able to renew certain people who have been living, who live there, and carry them through the next year, because we could run out of beds. I don't think that will happen. If you read carefully, we use words as may, it may impact. We want to, I live in a world that I want to make sure I'm as open and transparent with you. So I wanted to let you know that there's a possibility, and that's why the word may was chosen, not will. And so we want to make you aware. It's important that you indicate your preference to want to stay there, because if we do get to a point where we have a lot of incoming freshmen who want to live in that living learning community for honor students, and we fill up the space, and we have few beds that are available for returning students, we're going to prioritize based on the application renewal dates, that kind of thing. So if you're interested in staying there, don't panic yet, it'll be okay, but go ahead and the earlier you get your renewal application in, we'll be prioritizing based on that.
So in theory, if there's like a bunch of freshmen that would live in this suite,
if there's a whole bunch of freshmen and they're all in the honors programs and they all want to live in the living and learning honors community, because we also recognize that is a more costly housing solution, so it doesn't fit everybody, right? But if there is a whole lot of freshmen who come in who meet the honors qualifications and they have a desire to live in the honors living and learning community, they will be given a priority to be able to select that option. Okay? Yeah.
A student who lives in New Franklin who's in disability housing, they were really confused and no one had communicated to them, do they have to move? I know that they probably don't, from what I understand. But is there a way to communicate with housing to reach out to those people to let them know they're not going to be part of their housing because they aren't honor students?
Sure. And disability students have special, there are special accommodation kind of folks, and there are special rooms. Those don't fit, and those don't fit within that normal kind of dialogue. So there was an email that went out specifically to wings that are identified with honors, and there are a different email that's sent to non-honors wings, and they probably got the one that's non-honor wings and it doesn't relate to who they are and what they're doing, but not knowing specifically who they are and talking about specifics. But we'll talk to David Wilson and make sure that we can get the right message to the folks, okay? All right.
One quick question. So is this changing from where there's like 3 wings that are honors to basically however many wants to stay there can stay there?
Kind of, okay? And the reason I say that is there's a desire from the honors college to add an extra wing. And what we're saying from a housing perspective is we recognize the value of doing an honors college. We recognize that there's a value to those cohorts and having that living learning community. There's a whole lot of research that tells us about student success, student graduations, and those types of environments. So our commitment to housing was, our commitment to the honors college was that we would make some space available if you bring the people to us. If you bring the people to housing who are committed to do it and meet the qualifications, we'll provide that resource to you. At the end of the day, if you don't fill it up, we're going to fill it up with whoever we've got available to put in those rooms. Okay, so it's reserved to the extent of if there's honor students that are interested, they'll have first right of refusal, if I can use that language maybe. They'll have the first opportunity, but we're not going to say to somebody, because they're not in honors, you're not going to be allowed to live there. We're going to say, I've got an empty bed, would you like to live there? You say, yes, I would. Okay, then we're going to put you in that. Yes.
I know there was some talk last year about floors specific to majors. Floors being specific to majors, and just groups of majors, is that still in discussion or?
Yeah, so you heard me use the language living learning communities.
Yeah.
That's what that's tied into. We're still working on this concept. So we're still working with how residential colleges, fit together and how these living and learning communities kind of fit together. So there's not been there's no significant changes today that we can talk about in that area because there's still conversations that we have. And the primary driving factor is we want student success to be the point. And so things that we can do to help with student success.
Follow up with that, 2 follow-ups. What's your main focus if you were to go to that living learning community? Would be for those incoming students and honor students, or would they be the ones who are currently here on campus trying to graduate? As far as like what students would you encourage on those floors?
Yeah. So I don't think that's an or question. I think that all of that is in the conversation. So there's a concept of there's an honors cohort, but there's also an engineering cohort. There might be a music major cohort that have specific interests and specific needs. And so those living learning communities really are ways that we partner with the educational units to help provide, 24/7 type of support to the student. I think we got way off track with that whole conversation. I saw you, but hopefully we're okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Christian Barnes?
All right, just a couple of things. As Tori and JT have mentioned about Senate vacancy applications, we have them here. So if anybody would like to grab one on the way out, if that's something that you're interested in and something that you're wanting to do in the future, please don't hesitate to come and grab these on your way out. One more reminder before the deadline next Wednesday. If you were part of a student organization, we have those student leadership awards. Those nomination and applications are due next Wednesday by 4 p.m. They are all on the website. Instructions, nomination forms, descriptions, all of it's on the website. You'll download those and preferably email the completed nomination forms to the email listed. And so those are 8 awards. Some awards are awarded to individuals, some are awarded to organizations, and then we also have a staff award as well. So please go nominate other students, nominate organizations, and nominate a staff member if you so choose. Finally, I was emailed today from Dr. Bob Jackson, who is the president of our foundation. He is also a professor in the College of Business and teaches a finance course, Finance 230. Speaking from personal experience, I'm currently in the class, and it's a wonderful, wonderful class if you're just needing basic finance information on, what student loans look like, how to buy a house, what the taxes look like. The revelation for me was how much money do you need to save for retirement, which is a whole lot. A whole lot. So it's a wonderful life skills course that I think everybody, if you have the opportunity to do so, to take. And he will be teaching a section next semester in the fall. So please, as registration comes up, if that's something that piques your interest, please go and register for it. And if you have any questions about it at all, please let me know. Thank you.
Thanks. Jeannie?
Well, on April the 7th, Tori will be giving up her crown as Miss Murray State. So everyone needs to come to the pageant on April the 7th at 7:30 in Lovett Auditorium. We're going to be selling wristbands next week, so you need to get your ticket ahead of time. Also, if anyone would like to join Christian and I Friday morning at 8 a.m., it's Racer Day, and we're going to have thank you. Students come in, and it really looks good if we have SGA people there to talk to students about how they can get involved and how important it is to be involved. And also, we are fortunate enough that we are going to get to do an interest session at 12:30. This is something we haven't been able to do in a few years, and we have lobbied and lobbied and lobbied to get this time back. And it's very important because now freshmen will have an opportunity to talk to us about getting involved and how important it is to do other things besides just go to class. So we're excited about that. And I cannot encourage you enough to come to the diversity ball Friday evening at 6:30 in the Murray Room. It's really, really important, and it's the international students and other students are there, and it's really, really a good time. I went last year and we had a really good time. And there's food there. Also, the pool table. We purchased a pool table and we are so excited. It's got a navy top on it. We're gonna have navy chalk when it comes in. If you want to play on it and there's no one at the information table, come see me. I have a key and I can get you the sticks and the balls. So, that's all.
And sure, yeah, one more thing. With Bracer Day on Friday, the browsing session that prospective students are coming in, that starts at 8 a.m. So we, during browsing, will have a table set up. So that's a wonderful opportunity again to speak with students about what SGA does here on campus, what it does for other students. And then again, we'll be giving a talk at 12:30 and 1 o'clock. They're both 30-minute sessions. So please come be a part of that if you would. At the end, we're going to allow time for those students to ask questions. And I'm sure they would love input from current and past members of SGA.
And if you do your office hours, when you do your office hours this week and next week, if you want to use your office hours to play pool, my gift to you. You can play pool during your office hours. You still have to clock in, but just have to get off the stuff. Fellowship with one another. Any announcements?
I have an announcement.
Yes.
You know how proud I am of all of our SGA students. Well, a former SGA president was just named president of the school for Maysville, Brian Van Horn. Dr. Van Horn will be the new president there, and he was SGA president.
For where?
Maysville. So I'm excited. So maybe y'all will be president one day.
Anything else? So I have a motion to adjourn. All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We're adjourned. I will see you next week. Thank you.